Johnson High School, just as the National Joint Exam is about to begin. Their teacher, Mr. Chen Vaughn, reminds the students to prepare their equipment for the upcoming exam. He emphasizes that the exam itself is very dangerous and not recommended for those with weak powers. It is then that our main character, Xu Jingming, reveals that he has actually transmigrated to this world. His new world has a similar level of technology to his home world, but is filled with ferocious and terrifying creatures. To combat these monsters, there are individuals called awakeners. They possess superpowers and are tasked with protecting humanity. Everyone can awaken their powers at the age of 16. And the types of powers that emerge are very diverse and even strange. These powers are divided into 9 levels, and most people can only awaken powers from rank F to D. Remembering this, Xu Jingming is reminded of his own ability, a basic electric power that is only ranked E. The electric current he possesses is no stronger than a regular stun gun. Suddenly, a classmate asks if he is really going to take the martial arts exam, even after the teacher's warning. A blonde student mocked him, calling him trash and saying he would only bring shame to the school. He suggested that fencing expert Jimming would be better off working as an office worker. However, a girl named Linning Li defended Xu Jingming and told the blonde student not to interfere. Furious, the young man vowed to show who was the best during the exam. He then left, taunting Jingming that he would suffer a terrible end. Tragic events in the Medan exams. Linning Li tries to console Xu Jingming and suggests he choose a safer path within the city. The application form lists 2 educational paths, the liberal arts path and the martial arts path. Those who choose the martial arts path must enter dangerous zones and fight ferocious beasts. Only after passing this exam could one be accepted into the university and become an official power user. Xu Jingming realized that even if he avoided the exam, he still couldn't avoid the threat of monsters that could attack at any moment. He remembered his dark past when his parents died in a monster wave. Therefore, he no longer wanted to feel helpless. Determined, he chose the martial arts path on the application form. As dusk approached, the school building was enveloped in the glow of the setting sun. From within a room, Xu Jingming's silhouette could be seen arduously training with a spear. He gripped the weapon tightly and channeled his electric power into it. He practiced move after move, pushing himself to his limits. After the intense training, his body was exhausted and his breathing was labored. He collapsed to the floor, declaring that he couldn't train anymore for now. Lying there, he reflected that his spear technique made him slightly stronger than ordinary awakeners. However, he realized that the death rate for fighters below D class was increasing year by year. With burning determination, he recited his fists and resolved to enter Renner University. Suddenly, a blue screen appeared and flashed brightly. A system message indicated that the system had been activated. Xu Jingming was shocked. The screen asked if he wanted to open the starter pack. He wondered, is this the cheat he's been using? When he asked about its contents, the system replied that he would receive an S-rank ability and 200 ability points. An S-rank ability was extremely rare. Its owner would become a national powerhouse and receive massive support. Xu Jingming broke out in a cold sweat from both nervousness and excitement. He realized that even though he was just an ordinary ring, he was now a powerful person. He had a chance to change his destiny. With a confident smile, he accepted the package without hesitation. The system confirmed that he had exchanged 200 points and received the Thunder God ability. Tremendous energy flowed through his body. He screamed in pain as the transformation took place. Purple and white lightning exploded from his body, forming a ball of energy that shattered the training room window. The people outside were shocked. A child pointed to the building and said it was Big Brother's house. A worried man called the fire department, thinking there was a fire. The transformation reached 70% when the sky suddenly darkened. A lightning dragon appeared in the sky, shocking the crowd. From the government office, an official felt immense pressure and thought the city was under attack by a monster. He immediately ordered the 3rd Legion of Junxing to act as a defense force. The energy creature hovered in the sky, threatening to destroy the city. Xu Jiming let out a final scream as the transformation reached 100% and was complete. The energy dissipated. The room was completely destroyed by his newfound power. He clenched his fist and felt the power of the Thunder God's S-ring, now his own. Seeing the damage he had caused, he was grateful to be able to control it. He remembered that he still had 200 ability points and wondered what they would be used for. He asked the system to open his status panel. The screen displayed Xu Jingming's Thunder God estimator power and 200 available points. He decided to use all his points to increase his combat power before the exam. He knew that strength comes from the body and mind, so he strengthened his physical and spiritual attributes first. His attribute numbers immediately soared. A white aura surrounded his body as he felt a profound change. A surging energy, stronger, better circulation, and a much sharper mind. He tested his strength. His movements were now faster, his strikes cutting through the water. The panel showed a significant increase in both physique and spirit, along with detailed point conversions. With this strength, he was confident he would be accepted into university. However, he began to wonder what rank he would achieve. Xu Jingming then kicked his spear into the air and prepared to test his newfound strength on Jimbila himself. But before he could leave, the door to the training room was kicked open. 3 firefighters burst in, surprising Xu Jingming. The team leader explained that they had received a report of a fire. Xu Jingming hurriedly explained that it was just a fluctuation in his power and that everything was under control. After understanding the situation, the leader ordered his team to clean up the area and prepare to return. One of the firefighters seemed impressed by the strength Xu Jingming had just witnessed. The young man waved to them in thanks. The fire truck slowly drove away, drawing curious glances from the neighbors. One of them asked, "Is everything okay?" And Xu Jingming nodded, assuring him that there was nothing to worry about. He then continued on his way to the gym to train. For awakeners, regular training is the key to becoming a true power user. Xu Jingming arrives at Thunder Hall, one of the most renowned martial arts gyms in the country. Unlike other expensive gyms, Thunder Hall opens its doors free of charge to all high school students. Upon arriving inside, Xu Jingming sees a group of girls chatting cheerfully. One of them looks very familiar. It's Tangqi, Xu's cousin. Jingming, who had also come to train, was chatting with a friend when Xu approached and greeted him politely, asking what they were doing there. Tangqi looked a little surprised and then replied that he was just relaxing with his friends. Xu Jingming excused himself and told them to enjoy their time. As Xu turned to head back to the training room, Tangqi noticed something different about his cousin. His friend became curious and asked who the man was. Tangqi explained that it was his cousin, Xu Jingming, who would also be taking the exam tomorrow. His friend Shuya seemed enthusiastic and commented that with a face like that, Xu would make a perfect show partner. However, Tangqi quickly dampened his friend's enthusiasm by revealing that Xu's strength was only E rank. Another young man who overheard the conversation sneered, calling Xu ridiculous for taking the exam with such strength. However, Tangqi simply considered his cousin's decision to be very risky. He then changed the subject and invited his friends to check out the martial arts training area. The group walked away, discussing how relaxing for a while before the exam was a wise choice. Meanwhile, in the training room, Xu Jingming prepared to test his strength by striking a large target with a spear. He gripped the spear and felt how much lighter it felt. He immediately realized that his body had indeed become much stronger. However, with the exam approaching, he didn't have time to search for a more suitable weapon. He decided to test his physical strength first without the aid of superpowers. Taking a deep breath, he focused and he gripped the spear tightly. Then, with one swift, powerful movement, he slammed the tip of the spear into the target. The impact shattered the target with immense force. The digital screen displayed 321 calories as the result of the attack. A moment later, the room's automated system repaired the damaged target. Xu Jingming was amazed to see his physical strength had nearly doubled, far surpassing that of the average beginner. His eyes shone with excitement as he decided to test the power of his purple sky thunder god. Lightning began to flow through his hands and body as he channeled the power. He struck the target again with the now electric spear. This time, the number that appeared on the screen was shocking. 3,021 calories. Xu Jingming checked a gong and remarked that the power of Ring was truly extraordinary. That level of power was even comparable to that of an intermediate user. With lightning still circling his body, he muttered that this was not the limit of his power. He gripped his spear even tighter, preparing to combine his physical strength, superhuman strength, and skill into one devastating attack. With a powerful twist, he created a vortex of white and purple energy around him. A ball of pure power formed at the tip of his spear. With a loud shout, he released all the energy he had gathered. A massive explosion ensued, destroying everything in its path. In the main hall of Thunder Hall, a powerful tremor was felt, causing several people to stop what they were doing. One man asked, "Is that an earthquake?" On the same floor, a group of people were pushed and nearly fell over. The vibrations. A young man in the group sensed a large energy fluctuation and claimed it came from a super user. Shoya was surprised because only students trained there. The strongest students usually trained in other, more exclusive halls. Overcome with curiosity, Tank closed in to investigate the source of the immense power. Following the energy trail, they found Xu Jingming exiting one of the training rooms. Tank, surprised, asked what he was doing inside. Xu Jingming simply replied that he was preparing to go home to prepare for the exam. Tank's friends encouraged him and wished him luck. Then they quickly pulled Tank away to inspect the training room that had been the source of the immense power. When they opened the door, they were shocked. The entire room had been completely destroyed. The walls were cracked, equipment was shattered, and the floor was covered in traces of the energy blast. The story began with a glimpse of the third-floor training room of the martial arts academy. Tank and his friends were shocked to see the extensive damage inside. The battle scars were so intense that even memory metal, a highly advanced metal known for its strength, was shattered to pieces. A short-haired girl exclaimed in shock, "Oh my gosh, even memory metal can be destroyed like this. How powerful was that attack? Could there really be a student this powerful in Jiangsung?" A man with an overcut shook his head slowly. His face was serious. This wasn't the work of an ordinary high school student. I can still sense traces of extremely violent energy. It's highly likely that someone with second-level strength accidentally entered this floor and is testing their strength here. One of the other students nodded. "I've done it. There's no way a high school student could possess such power." The man with the hair apricot continued. "Even in the provincial capital, prodigies can't do this kind of damage. Moreover, it's just a disciple of Jiang Cheng's." The short-haired girl frowned. But it's only Xu Jingming who was weak here just now. Could it be that he's been hiding his strength all this time? Maybe he's a genius waiting for the right moment to shine in tomorrow's exam?" A stocky man laughed disdainfully. "You've read too many web novels about weaklings who are secretly geniuses." "It's just fantasy," his friend chimed in. "Even if he's hiding his strength, there's a limit. He's only an E-level awakener. Having 300 units of strength is already considered good." The apricot-haired man pointed to the corridor. "These two corridors lead out. The strong man probably came out from the other side. That's why we didn't meet him." "Tank, what do you think?" Tank lowered his head, studied the badly cracked wall, and muttered even more softly, "It's possible that these marks look like they were made by a spear. he muttered even more softly, as if talking to himself. Su Jingming, is it possible that he's really training alone for the martial arts exam? Next panel, the day of the strength exam. Beavis stopped. One by one, the students descended, carrying their equipment. Su Jingming was seen carrying a long spear. One student commented, "Wow, this is our exam venue." Others exclaimed in surprise, "I just saw a one-horned rhinoceros." An NPC panicked. Usually the exam animals were just shadow cats or iron pigs. Why was it so much scarier this year? If it really was a one-horned rhinoceros and we couldn't defeat it, what's the point of going to university? Suddenly a young man in a light blue combat uniform with a long sword on his back coldly glared at the crowd and said loudly, "If you're even afraid of facing a creature like that, even if you graduate, you'll still be trash." Everyone immediately fell silent. Some students who wanted to retort the arrogant remark held back after realizing who had spoken. Su Jingming turned to the student next to him who was carrying a shield and a large sword. Who was he? So arrogant. The student, Luja, replied, "That's a Shuming, the top student from the first high school. His ability is a B- win element. He's said to be almost at level 1 now." Su Jingming muttered to himself. "So he's the level 1 now." Su Jingming muttered to himself. "So he's the top candidate this year. Between me and him, who's stronger?" A middle-aged man stepped onto the podium and shouted. Everyone gathered and fell silent. The field immediately fell silent. "I'm Commander Wang Dong. This year's Jiangcheng Martial Arts Academy entrance exam will run from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., a total of 12 hours. The exam location is this ruined city, divided into 3 zones: outer, middle, and core. The outer zone is inhabited by unranked beasts. The middle zone is inhabited by non-high-ranked beasts and some level 1 beasts. The core, especially the core 1 subzone, is inhabited by beasts of level 1 and above, and some can even be level 2. Killing beasts will earn points. The stronger the enemy, the higher the score. But remember, know your limits." Su Jingming smiled. Previously, he only dared to enter the outer zone, but now he felt worthy of entering the core zone. Now the distribution of equipment begins. Please proceed to your respective class areas. Each participant receives a backpack containing 3 essential items. Smart to record the number and type of animals defeated, and calculate points complete with a digital map. 3 compressed energy bars to instantly restore stamina. Protective sphere, a green sphere that, when activated, creates a high-voltage electrical barrier. Normal animals cannot penetrate it. A teacher handed Su Jingming equipment with a message. Remember, once you activate the protective sphere, it marks your final exam. Don't be reckless. Your life is more important than anything else. Su Jingming nodded. "Thank you for your attention. In this exam, participants are allowed to form teams, but points will be divided equally. Therefore, many students prefer to fight alone." "Jing, you don't have a team yet, right? Join us," said Lin Chenan, the friendly Class 5 leader. But the other team members immediately complained. "If someone like him is involved, our points will drop. Why carry a burden?" Seeing the uncomfortable atmosphere, Jing said calmly, "No need, I'll go in alone." Luja and Lintanan looked worried but could not argue. The gates of the ruined city opened. Commander Wonggong returned to the podium and announced the official start of this year's Jiangcheng Martial Arts Academy entrance exam. With enthusiasm in their hearts and dreams in their heads, the students swarmed the ruined city like locusts. Jing drew his spear and ran inside. The ruined city was like a prosecutor's jaws, swallowing them whole. Drones and surveillance cameras began broadcasting the exam live. Jing activated his smartwatch. "Please verify your identity. Fingerprint verification complete. Name Su Jing, grade 12 to 5 inches. Jiangcheng High School numbers 2. 2 small towns appeared. Su Jingming's personal score ranked first on the leaderboard, assuming 2 points. Su Jingming sighed in admiration. That's great, but I have to start too. He moved towards a red zone. But before he got far, he found a student lying unconscious. His body was badly injured, and he hadn't even had time to activate the protective sphere. His teacher's warning rang again. If I didn't have S-rank strength, perhaps my fate would have been the same. He immediately contacted the medical team. Facing challenges always comes with risks. Not everyone is given the opportunity to challenge fate, he muttered. Suddenly the sound of footsteps was heard behind him. Su Jingming turned quickly. A beast covered in jet black fur lurked from behind the ruins. A shadow tiger. He immediately realized the beast had deliberately left one victim alive to lure the next. I've fallen into its trap. The creature stared at him with glowing purple eyes. Su Jingming gripped his spear tightly and assumed a battle stance. Meanwhile, the monster's body expanded, preparing to attack. With incredible speed, the creature lunged. However, he managed to dodge with nimble movements and landed safely. Meanwhile, the opponent's attack only hit the bare ground. The creature was known as the Gray Killer. It was renowned for its sharp claws and powerful bite. With an angry growl, the beast bared its fangs and glared at Su Jingming from a close distance. He knew that creatures like these possessed an intimidating aura capable of rendering novices powerless. This was why wealthy families employed bodyguards to train their children from a young age to prepare them for threats. Unfortunately, Su Jingming never had such an opportunity. This was his first fight against a fruit beast of this kind. The monster leaped again, ready to tear with its claws and fangs. But Su Jingming didn't flinch. He gripped his spear tightly, and purple lightning began to flow along the weapon. With one swift slash, he struck his opponent head-on. The spear, imbued with electricity, pierced through the monster's attack with a confident look, knowing that the creature's intimidating aura had no effect on him. Moments later, the creature collapsed, lifeless. The system informed him that he had earned 3 points for defeating an unranked shadow cat. He had thought that defeating beasts would earn him skill points, but fighting unranked ones would only earn him a few. Since the creature's auras didn't affect him, he decided there was no reason to remain in the outer area. He continued his journey through the city, defeating various monsters and accumulating points. In one scene, he was seen fighting fiercely against several creatures at once. Although his points were increasing, he realized that what he lacked was combat experience. His new divine powers were incredibly draining and didn't even last an hour. Unlike his previous abilities, since the test was to last 12 hours, he decided to rely solely on his spear to practice his fighting techniques. Suddenly, a giant red-eyed rhinoceros appeared and charged brutally, sending a car flying. Su Jingming didn't back down from the massive attack. With a tremendous leap, he leaped over the monster. Then, while still in the air, he readied his spear for the decisive blow. The spear struck the rhinoceros' head with full force. The giant monster collapsed helplessly. He realized that his speed in taking down opponents had increased and checked the system panel. It turned out that his spear technique had advanced to the intermediate level. He wondered if the intermediate level was already this powerful, what would it be like if he advanced it even further? At that moment, a barrage of advanced spear techniques began flooding his mind. A satisfied smile spread across his face. He couldn't wait to test his new abilities on the first-ranked beast. At the same time, the class president's group walked nearby. The class president caught a glimpse of what he believed was Su Jingming. However, his teammates dismissed it, saying it would be a suicide mission for him to be in this area. However, the class president's curiosity was piqued when a team member pointed out a dead rhinoceros nearby with a fatal wound on its head, clearly caused by a spear. They were shocked and asked if what he had seen was really Su Jingming. One team member doubted it, claiming that only a C-ranked Kenner crew could take down the monster. His classmate then suggested checking the leaderboard. Upon seeing his smartwatch, the class president was shocked. It was indeed him. The news sent his classmates into a panic, unable to believe that Su Jingming was in the top 50. Meanwhile, outside the arena, the public watching the exam saw that Zhu Mingyang was in first place. The city director of education praised the genius, confident that he would enter the provincial top 100. He also, the principals of the first and third place schools, congratulated them on their achievements. However, they criticized the second place school for only ranking 18th. The principal, annoyed, complained that only 8 of his students were in the top 50. Suddenly, the principal asked who Su Jingming was, as he had never heard of him. A teacher, shocked by the name, exclaimed that the boy was in the top 50. A cold sweat broke out on the teacher, questioning whether Su Jingming had been hiding his true strength. However, he remained skeptical that an E-ranked Kenner crew could become an S-ranked one. He complained that he couldn't see the boy because only the top 10 received special cameras during the exam. Back at the arena, Su Jingming was in the central zone, a high-risk area. He walked through the ruined streets and accidentally stepped on a glass bottle on the ground. While eating a snake bar, he noted that ranked monsters had much stronger intelligence and territorial tendencies. Suddenly his eyes narrowed. He sensed something approaching quickly. A giant blue-eyed tiger appeared, destroying the cars in his path. It was the fork beast, a ferocious beast that destroyed everything in his path. Su Jingming smiled slightly, thinking that he was lucky to encounter such a powerful opponent right after entering the central zone. From behind the ruins, a monster leaped out. Its shape resembled a tiger, but its size was at least 5 times larger. Yellow fur mixed with black covered its body, and most strikingly were the bony blades protruding from its arms. In front of him, sharp as a knife, although clearly bone, a metallic sheen seemed to reflect off its surface. Behind him, a long, whip-like tail swung wildly. A level 1 blade cloud tiger. Su Jingming narrowed his eyes. The blade cloud tiger was a fairly common monster. The corners of his lips lifted slightly. It seems my luck is pretty good. I've only just entered the central area and already encountered a level 1 monster. He lowered his spear and stepped forward. Good. Let's see how far this intermediate spear technique I just learned can go. At the same time, the prosecutor tiger leaped. Its body was as big as a tank. Its weight alone would have made most exam candidates collapse in despair. Not to mention the knife-sharp claws and blood-soaked fangs within its gaping maw. Yet there was no hint of fear in Su Jingming's eyes. In fact, as the beast charged, its movements seemed to slow to Jingming's eyes. He carefully observed the tiger's attack path. Then, with a burst of power, he swung his spear in a wide circular motion, like a giant Ferris wheel, and met the incoming claws with a powerful blow. The powerful impact made the tiger falter for a moment, as if shocked by the strength of the small human before it. Its paws trembled. The marks of the blow had truly hurt. Su Jingming smiled crookedly. It was not as difficult as I imagined. Perhaps only the Tiger King could force me to exert more strength. Be a good animal and die, he muttered, lunging forward to counterattack. The tiger roared angrily, offended at being underestimated. It raised its claws and leaped to pounce on Su Jingming. However, that was precisely the opening he had been waiting for. Su lowered his body and thrust his spear straight into the tiger's belly. Blood spurted profusely as the weapon pierced through the thick fur and tough hide, revealing its quivering internal organs. For an ordinary creature, such a wound would have been fatal. However, the tiger only roared louder. Its wild eyes now blazed with a frenzied light. The severe wound had only awakened its ferocious instincts. Instead of weakening, it became even more ferocious. Truly worthy of being called a level 1 monster. Its vitality was extraordinary. Su muttered to himself, though he hadn't expected a single stab to end it without using its special abilities. With a reckless fury, the BL Cloud Tiger charged again. Its claws slashed repeatedly with the speed and ferocity of a giant feline predator, but not a single attack could touch Su Jingming. He moved nimbly, dodging with precision, calculating every step. Despite the blood flowing from its wounds, the tiger showed no sign of giving up. It continued to fight with incredible tenacity. To Su Jingming, the beast was nothing more than a struggling animal in a hunter's trap. Once entangled, no matter how hard he struggled, the end result was still death. With a cool mind, he took a step back to create distance, calmed himself, and then channeled power into his spear. Energy surged, strengthening the weapon in his hand. In one explosive slash, the spear struck the prosecutor tiger's skull. The sound of bone cracking echoed loudly. The beast's body collapsed lifelessly. Instantly, a system notification appeared before him. You have killed a level 1 monster. Strength points plus 14. Su Jingming's eyes widened. Killed monster. A level 1 monster gave him nearly double the points compared to a level 0 monster. His gaze lit up with excitement. This meant that the stronger the monster he killed, the greater the reward he would receive. He had to seize this opportunity. Gripping his spear tightly, Su Jingming dashed toward the direction where the monster roars were loudest. He had to seize this opportunity. Gripping his spear tightly, Su Jingming dashed toward the direction where the monster roars were loudest. The collapsed area was divided into 4 zones: the outer perimeter, the middle, the core, and the inner core. Most candidates could only barely stay on the periphery. Only a handful dared to venture into the center. In the core area, even the top students from Johnseung Junior High School proceeded with great caution. This martial arts exam lasted a full 12 hours. Throughout that time, the principal and homeroom teachers were required to remain present to supervise. Now, Su Jingming's rapid rise in ranking had caught everyone's attention. Right, Teacher Chen Van? Someone asked. What exactly happened to your student, Su Jingming? Why have I never heard of him? There are so many candidates competing this year. The fact that he's already made it into the top 50 is already remarkable. Teacher Chenbin, you must be a great instructor. I was even planning to suggest that you give a speech at the end of your assembly. Share your teaching methods with everyone. Surrounded by his colleagues full of praise, Teacher Chenpan's face flushed red with embarrassment. He himself didn't understand why Su Jingming had suddenly become so powerful. Nervously, he tried to explain that his success was due to his word of mouth. It was entirely due to Su Jingming's own hard work, and he barely played a role. But of course, no one paid attention to his update. What's going on? Why did Su Jingming's score rise so quickly? Principal Zhao muttered with a frown. Beside him, Chief Examiner Yang Wenin muttered as he calculated quickly. According to the martial arts exams scoring rules, killing a top-tier level 0 monster only awarded about 6 to 8 points. Killing a top-tier level 1 monster, on the other hand, awarded about 14 to 16 points. The smartwatch that tracked kills had a 4-second lag in updating the scores. So if Su Jingming's score had risen by 44 points all at once, Zhao continued with a puzzled expression. That meant he had slain 5 top-tier level 0 monsters, or 3 top-tier level 1 monsters in less than 4 seconds. Zhang Wenxin gave a faint smile and nodded. True. Both possibilities were enough to prove his terrifying strength. He might not be on the same level as Zhang Yang or the other top candidates, but his combat prowess was definitely within the top 10. Then Zhang Wenxin turned around with a questioning expression. Headmaster Zhao, why have I never heard of a student like this before? Zhou simply responded with a faint smile, either hiding something or simply suppressing admiration. Honestly, this student just showed off his explosive abilities during today's exam. As for his background, I'll have to ask the guardian directly. His class. With that, Zhang Wenxin pulled a trans-fam teacher from the crowd and motioned for him to report. Facing Zhang Wenxin's sharp gaze, trans-fam became nervous. He lowered his head slightly before finally speaking. Headmaster, as far as I know, Su Jingming only awakened an E-rank ability. Principal Zhao's face immediately frowned deeply. Teacher Chen, are you sure you're not mistaken? Trans Fam smiled bitterly. No, Headmaster, I'm not mistaken. Even before the exam, I advised him not to join the martial arts division at all. Frankly, I'm starting to doubt whether there was a mistake in his registration when he first awakened his power. If it's true that he only has unranked skills, yet he can perform like this, then he must have extraordinary talent in other aspects, Zhang Wenxin said thoughtfully. Unfortunately, since he hasn't made it to the top 10 yet, we can't see any footage of his fights. Just wait. With his strength, he'll be in the top 10 soon. Then we'll all see it. As the main examiner, patience was second nature to Zhang Wenxin. However, his words only deepened Principal Zhou's unease. He gave them both a meaningful look. When that time comes, we'll know the real reason why his scores keep soaring. And if it turns out to be cheating, his words hung with a threatening tone. Neither Zhao nor Transfan had the slightest idea why Su Jingming had suddenly become so powerful. But both were aware that if they were found to have cheated, they wouldn't escape punishment. Time passed while the martial arts exam rankings fluctuated. Names rose and fell on the leaderboard. However, there was one name that the climb continued. In less than an hour, Su Jingming had broken into the top 10. Zhuang Hihai's eyes widened in shock when he saw his name. His suspicions were now confirmed. It must have been Su Jingming who had destroyed the training hall yesterday. Meanwhile, Zhang Yang, who also saw the name, felt strangely familiar. He had never heard of the name before and wondered who Su Jingming really was, and how strong he could be. As soon as Su Jingming entered the top 10, a recording of his battle was displayed on the big screen for all the teachers to see. At that moment, he had just finished a battle with a first-level Shadow Cat, earning 14 points. A satisfied smile appeared on his face. His monster hunting efficiency in the central zone was truly extraordinary. Then he noticed a camera drone hovering above his head. That meant only one thing. He had officially entered the top 10. This exam was designed to test the candidate's strength. The higher the ranking, the greater the privileges. Su Jinmo had no intention of hiding his strength. Entering the top 10 was just the beginning. Immediately afterward, he opened his status panel. Name: Su Jingming, Awakener rank. Violet Heaven Divine Thunder ability. Physique 141 to 181. Spirit 162 Hz to 182 Hz. Spearsmanship, advanced in Wind and Thunderbreak beginner skills. Ability points 312. Su Jingming was stunned. He already had over 300 ability points, yet his rank still hadn't increased. His brows furrowed. There were two possibilities. First, the transition from Awakener to a true ability user required a huge amount of points, and 300 wasn't enough. Second, the process. There are special requirements. If those requirements aren't met, even the system can't help him advance. So that's it. Since I haven't learned the ability cultivation method, I can't advance, Su Jingming thought to himself. However, with his current strength, he was barely a match for a true ability user. For the time being, all he could do was continue improving his basic attributes and combat skills. After a moment's consideration, Su Jingming allocated all his points. 200 points in physique, bringing his total to 181. 112 points in spirit, bringing his total to 182. In an instant, power surged through his body. His mind became clearer than ever. The fatigue accumulated from the long journey and battle vanished without a trace. In the devastated central zone, the air was filled with blood mixed with the stench of rotting beasts. 10 tigers surrounded the carcass of a rhinoceros. Their eyes vigilantly scanned the surroundings as if on guard. In the center of the circle, a large tiger leisurely devoured meat. It was clearly the leader of the pack. Monsters were divided into two types: solitary hunters and those that lived in groups. This pack of tigers belonged to the latter. For an ordinary candidate, encountering such a group meant only one option: retreat. But in Su Jingming's eyes, his pitch-black pupils gleamed with a burning battle intent. This was what he had been longing for. If he could successfully exterminate this group, he would gain a large number of ability points. Just as he was about to launch an attack, he suddenly sensed someone approaching. He immediately turned around, his voice cold. "Who's there? Come out! I've sensed you!" From the shadows emerged a smiling young man. "Zhang, your perception is very sharp. I didn't expect you to detect me, and I also didn't expect you to actually be able to penetrate the big fur." Su Jing was a little surprised. As far as she knew, they had never met. How did this person know her name? Zhang Ying kept smiling. "I know everyone who is strong enough to enter the central zone. So when I saw a new name appear, I knew it must be the rising star, Su Jingming." Hearing that, Su Jingming finally understood how Zhang Ying knew it. Then Zhang Yang pointed at the pack of tigers ahead. "I came for that pack. The leader is a mid-level monster plus 10 first-level tigers. It's impossible for me to defeat them all alone. So how about we work together?" Su Jing only smiled faintly, shaking her head. "No need. I alone am enough to finish them all off." Her footsteps then sounded firm as she advanced toward the pack of tigers, showing her determination. Su Jingming walked calmly, as if fearlessly preparing for battle. The tigers immediately noticed her presence and prepared to attack the intruder. Su Jingming keenly noticed that the pack, led by a commander, was able to use a simple formation to fight. Roars echoed as the tigers arranged themselves to attack together. Su Jingming jumped onto a vehicle, stood tall, and stared directly at the Tiger King, who responded with a furious roar. Meanwhile, his rival chose not to intervene. He stood at a distance, watching curiously, wondering whether Ming was truly capable or simply an overconfident fool. Su Jingming stood tall, entering his fighting stance. An aura of power began to envelop his body. His spear spun with a powerful thrust, preparing for the oncoming attack. Several monster eco-mount charged at him at once. However, Jingming didn't retreat in the slightest. With a swift movement, he deflected one of the lashing claws with his spear. His attacks were swift and precise. One by one, the monsters were brought down. The tiger's body strewn across the ground confirmed the young man's immense strength. However, the battle wasn't over yet. Another creature leaped forward, its claws outstretched, ready to rend. From a distance, the Tiger King roared in rage, seeing his followers so easily defeated. Despite his victory, Su Jingming realized one weakness. His physical strength was still insufficient to face such a large group of monsters at once. Now the remaining tigers surrounded him as the leader prepared to launch his final attack. A thunderous roar erupted from the Tiger King's throat. A wave of sun energy shot out, shattering the windows of the surrounding buildings. The other candidates who were hiding covered their ears in pain, wincing at the noise. However, Su Jingming stood his ground, unshaken. "It won't scare me," he said flatly. He ducked to avoid the lashing claw and then immediately prepared to counterattack. Now he was facing the Tiger King head-on in a decisive battle. With a tremendous leap, Su Jingming dodged the monster's giant blow. His body flew over the tiger's head. The Tiger King's rage intensified, enraged at seeing his attack so easily dodged. Still in the air, Su Jingming spun his spear, gathering immense energy at the tip of the weapon. A powerful blow struck Tiger King's body. The attack shattered the power of the jungle ruler, sending him to the ground lifeless. A system notification immediately appeared. "You have defeated Tiger King plus 20 skill points." In the distance, his rivals stared in disbelief. "What the hell is this guy? A monster? What kind of monster is he?" Su Jingming just smiled in satisfaction at the surge in points he had earned. The more points, the better, he thought. Then he hurried to find the next monster horde. His rival finally caught up to him. "Hey, how could you defeat all those tigers with just a spear?" Jingming glanced at him for a moment, then replied curtly, "I'm a lightning type." With a light leap, he left the man behind. His rivals snorted in annoyance, accusing Ming of lying and even calling him rude. But when his eyes shifted to the leaderboard, his face paled. Su Jingming's name was now ranked first with a score that had surpassed all the participants. The teachers cheered, calling him a true genius. The principal of Jingming's hometown school received congratulations and even promised an award for his city. Meanwhile, the principal of the Third Academy couldn't hold back tears of joy. Finally, his school was in the spotlight. 3 hours later, the rival walked through the central zone. He was confused because he could barely find any monsters. Some of the other participants explained, "Just ask the person in first place." A girl added, "He's already wiped out all the monsters. That's why we're forced to work together." The rival was flabbergasted. It couldn't be. The core zone should be teeming with monsters. But when he looked at the leaderboard again, the reality was clear. Xing Ming had already accumulated over 3,400 points. He had truly intended to clear this entire zone from the start. He muttered in surprise. Another contestant mentioned their plan to head to the deepest zone, but his rival seemed hesitant, intimidated by the dangers that awaited. The purple-haired girl then offered him a spot on their team, and he readily accepted. Night fell. Amidst the expanse of monster carcasses, Su Jingming sat atop the giant pile. His supplies were depleted. The trial was almost over, and he was downing his last ration. "If I want more points, I'll have to go deeper. But to do that, I'll have to get stronger," he thought. He opened his status panel. There were over 2,400 skill points waiting to be used. Su Jingming smiled. He already knew how to use them. With his newfound strength soon to be, he felt ready to face the final challenge of the trial. Meanwhile, his rival team made their final push toward the center of the arena. Suddenly, a giant figure appeared. A white bear with sparkling crystals all over its body. Su Jingming braced himself. His eyes narrowed. So these are the two monsters they prepared for the final exam.